On today's show, coming at us from the fifth floor, it's the bro man himself from Martin. Please welcome Reginald Ballard.
Yo, what's up? This bruh man from the fifth floor. Just chilling, eating me a couple of serb sandwiches, waiting to throw down on this interview. All right. What's up, my man?
Hey, everybody, welcome to the Mike Grand Show. And today's special guest, he was Bro Man on Martin, as well as he was on the Bernie Mac Show and a bunch of films, other TV shows, as well as a stand up comedian. Please welcome Reginald Ballard.
Oh, what's up? Just chilling, brother.
How
Glad to
you
be here,
doing,
man.
man?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm just relaxing on a nice little Tuesday. I got back yesterday from Philly, man. Did a Me and Carl Payne, played Cole on the show. We did two shows, man. We did one brunch on Sunday, Father's Day, and then we did another one at 6 in Jersey. So I'm just getting back, man. I'm relaxing. And now my wife trying to put me to work, talking about we gotta go to Costco to get some stuff. So yeah, I'm back on that work schedule now. That wife work schedule.
All right, awesome. So the first thing I want to know is you actually grew up in Texas, correct?
Yes, sir. Grew up in Galveston,
Yeah.
Texas, man. Small island, like about 40 miles south of Houston, man. Two ways in, across the bridge or across the ferry, unless you can swim real good. So a lot of people come down there in summertime, for the beaches and sun and snow cones and all that, man. So yeah, Galveston, Texas, man.
Yep. And then now, when you were in Texas, when you went to high school, you played football, right? And
Yeah,
then you earned a football scholarship,
yes.
but then you pivoted towards acting. So tell us how that came about.
It's funny because I always wanted to be an actor ever since the fourth grade, man. My first can you see that Bruce Lee movie, man? My first Bruce Lee movie, that's the movie. And I never told anyone. So, I ended up doing sports. I was track star and football star and got a scholarship to SMU, which was they was number three in the nation at the time. Got that. And then we got hit with the death penalty, which is in 87 is a big scandal. Matter of fact, they have a special on on ESPN called 30 for 30, and it's called Pony Excess, about what happened to us in 87. We the only team that ever got hit with the NCAA death penalty, meaning that they took our whole football program. So I transferred to Missouri, and I needed 3 hours to transfer. So I got into a theater class. I was like, this is my opportunity. I got into the theater class, and man, I excelled in it, man. I mean, I started making, I was like basically a C student. But then when I got into the theater class, man, I turned into like straight A's. I was getting A's in theater, and I ended up going University of Missouri, majored in theater over there, and did plays. Did Soldiers Play, and we did 8 nights. Man, got standing ovations every night. I told my friends, true story. Told my friends, I said, "Hey, man, I'm finna go to L.A. and hang. I'm finna go to Hollywood and hang with Stallone and them." I said, "The next time you see me, I'm be on TV." I left college. The first movie I did called Lockup with Sylvester Stallone, and the next time I see my friends, I was on TV. That's how it all started. That's how it all happened, man. I just held a gun on Stallone. I just had a rifle on. That was on my only role.
Oh, that's awesome. So the first movie was with Sylvester Stallone then.
Yes, sir. First one, man. First one.
So can you tell us how excited it was for you to be on the set for the first time? How did you feel being
And
on that set?
I feel like a fish out of water coming from Galveston, man. I was like, wow, this kind of thing don't happen to, people from Galveston, but Barry White from Galveston, the great Barry White. But Catherine Hillman, she's from Galveston. But I felt like a fish out of water, man, just walking around looking at those guys, looking at him. John Amos was in the movie. And as a matter of fact, when John Amos bust through the door and walked up into the prison, He was a one of the prison guards and officers, and he had left that day. So they said, "Oh man, we needed him to come through the scene, come through the door." And they said, "Can you walk through and just walk like John Amos?" So my legs, that's my legs. It's not John Amos' leg. I felt real cool, man. Just being on the set, working with, Stallone. He came over there and told us to stand up, me and this other guy. And he picked the other guy to do the scene because he said, this height, man. And I was like, man, Stallone is talking to me, man. So that was really cool. It was interesting.
I've had a lot of people on this show. I don't know if you're familiar. You remember the show Glow, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling from back in the day?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. His mom was the manager of the Good Girls, the Good Girl
Is that right?
wrestlers
Is that
on the
right?
show. So I know a
Okay,
lot
that's
of them
cool.
that worked with Jackie that they tell me
Oh,
some
that's cool.
stories.
That's cool, man. That's cool. That's
And
all right.
and you've been in a lot of films. You were also in Class Act,
Yep.
Menace to Society.
Yep.
How were those films? And did you have a favorite film that you were in?
Oh man, each one that I do is my favorite, man, because it's work in Hollywood is so sporadic, man. It's hard to come by. So any role that I tell you, the worst role I had was the Days of Our Lives, man. Oh, that junk was. I don't never want to do a soap opera no more, man. That was they don't, people don't speak to you. It's like when you do your scene, you just come out there and you meet the actor for the first time and they don't like to mess up and stop. They like to just keep going, go, go, go. And I was like, wow, that was like overwhelming, man. But all my films that I've ever done, man, I love every one of them just the same. Menace was something that the Hughes brothers, man, I went in an audition, I think they had everybody reading for the part of Omar. And I did such a good job, man. It was like, wow, but I was too old for the Omar. And plus, my man, shoot, he rocked that role, so but he gave me that. He said, we got to put you somewhere. And they put me, that role I had. I thought it was a pretty cool little thing, man. I loved it. And Kid Play working at them class act, man. That was like, I think that was my first movie class act with Kid and Play. Man, we had so much fun on that set, man. I mean, it was like highway robbery when they was paying us, because we was just having fun.
Yep. And then in 1993, you landed the iconic role of Broman on Martin,
That's
which
when it
was
was 19.
hilarious.
Is it
So can
19?
you
Yeah,
tell
I knew
us,
that.
yeah, tell us how you landed that role?
It's funny, man, because I was in Texas. I was at home visiting. And I was at my friend's house a week before. I was at my friend's house. My friend had recorded all the shows on VHS. And we was sitting over his house, man, watching all the March, man. We was laughing. I was on the floor crying on Dragonfly Jones, man. I'm like this. That's my favorite character on the show. I'm dying. I'm dying. And then I go back to LA that following week, and my agent called and said, "You have an audition for Martin." I said, "Oh man, I was just watching the show." And sent me on audition. I went in audition, and Eileen Knight, who's the casting director, she said, "Can you do it another way?" And I said, "Okay." So I put a little extra flavor in it. I said, "Okay, I'm gonna take you across the street, to meet Martin, them, the producers, audition for them, see what they think." I went in audition. They was sitting out in chairs looking like gangsters with their hats back and hands, all, I went in and man, I had them rolling when I hit the four finger thing because that wasn't in the script. I hit the bruh man, and that wasn't in the script because it was called Brother Man. Almost like how you say it. You say bro man, but it's bruh man. So I hit the bruh man on them, and man, they were rolling because actually Benny Richburg was the writer, and he wrote Brother Man because he just wrote that name down because he couldn't think of the name of a character. He said, "Well, I got to get the script in tomorrow, so I'm just gonna put Brother Man. I'll rename the name of the character, So then we'll come up with a name." But when I came in with Bruh Man, they were like, "Hey, that's it, that's it," and they kept that Bruh Man.
Now, was that originally intended to be a one-off guest appearance and then it
Yeah.
turned into recurring?
Yes, I've had about 4 or 5 shows that I've done that's supposed to be a one hit, one guest star, and now they keep bringing me back. So each one I ever done, Crumbs with Jane Curtin, the original Saturday Night Live, and Fred Savage was in that, and William Devane. I was just supposed to be a guest star. They ended up making me a regular on the show. They flew me up to New York and say, "Can you do up front?" So I was like, "Man, come on, man." I thought that was my friend joking, right? I say, nah, man, I can't. It say, can you? I was hitting golf balls on Sunday, and then ABC call. ABC say, residents ABC, we like you to be upfronts. Upfronts is for where all the shows go in New York, and they put you under the banner. You stand under the show. That shows don't get picked up by the network. And I was like, yeah, right. They say, no, we want you to come. I said, okay. They say, we send limo for you, first class, and blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, all right, all right. I thought he was joking. So woke up that Monday, man, and there was a limo outside. So I had to get packed. And I said, dang, this is crazy. So they flew to New York. I got out the limo in New York, man, at the Lincoln Center, and people, man, the paparazzi out there, Reginald knew my name, and Reginald. I was like, man, what's going on? This is real. This real. So when I walked up in front with Jane Curtin, who was standing in the booth where their show was, I walked up, man. They looking at me, Jane and all them looking at me like, "Hey, Rich, how you doing, man? What you doing here?" I say, "I don't know." Now that's when I really started thinking it was a joke. I'm like, "I don't know." They just told me to show up. They said, "Well, congratulations." So my agent called because they didn't never call my agent. My agent, I called my agent. I said, "Man, what's going on?" He said, "I don't know, man. They nobody called me. Let me find out what's going on." So he called ABC, and ABC said, "Yeah, we tested the character in front of the audience." And his character tested highest out of all the characters on the show, so we're gonna make him a regular. That's how they went down.
So now if somebody's got low ratings, we're just gonna plug you in, help save the
Plug me
show,
in.
right?
Plug me in, man. Have fun.
Now, how much of it on Martin was scripted versus improvised? Did you get to do some improvisation there?
Man, we a lot was scripted. Most of it was scripted, but when the window thing that was improvised. Martin said, "Man, it'd be funny if you walk out the window." Four fingers were improvised. And all my movements, man, that was all me, man. I mean, the walk and the head bob and all that stuff was me. So, and Martin always improv. You have to watch Martin because he'll go off and if you follow him, man, you'll be just as funny because he know how to drag you in to being funny. He got a gift. He like LeBron. LeBron make everybody play with good. Martin the same way. Everybody he with, he make them good.
And did you have a favorite scene or a favorite moment from the show?
I mean, all of them, all of them. Those are memories, man, that I never forget. And I mean, every one we did, every episode, and every time it came through the window and interacted with the cast. I mean, it was like one is better, just as good as the other. So I don't really have a favorite. If I had to pick and choose one, it was probably the when I was there eating the sandwich that night and he woke up out of the dream and I was telling him about fraud and them. That's probably, yeah, I think that would be if I had to pick.
Yeah, I love that one where that's the one where you're I'm usually alone at this time of night in
Yeah,
your
yeah, 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 yeah. With the pajamas on, with the ice
yeah.
cream cones and all that stuff on. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
one.
that was funny. And I
That's
mean, that was such an iconic cast
oh
with
yeah, man.
Martin, Tisha, Tashina, you got
Yes,
Thomas, you got Carl.
yeah.
Tell me what it was like those guys and what kind of fun you had working with them.
Yeah. I hung out with Tommy more. Yeah, I used to go to Tommy house, and me and him loved electronics. Me and him probably one of the first cats that ever had the traveling VCRs, the little portable 8 millimeter joints you could take on a plane with you. We had those. And I hung with, but man, and now I hang out more with Carl Payne because play Cole because me and him do comedy. Matter of fact, we just like I say, we just finished in Philly Sunday. And we see every time we get together, man, we just laugh and reminisce, about the situation. And cool cat. And when I see Tisha and all them, man, I mean, it's like we never left, man. We did the reunion. The reunion it was almost like we were still there, doing what we supposed to do. So it was cool working with them, man. I mean, nobody had no beef, and everybody was, able to get along with one another, at that time when I was there. Yeah.
Yep. And then, you didn't leave Fox too long because you got another role on another Fox show called The Bernie Mac Show. So tell
Yeah,
us how you
man.
landed that role.
Martin was like getting my master's degree, in comedy. When I got to Bernie, it was like getting my PhD, because that dude, man, he was on a whole nother level, man. I mean, Bernie was the type of dude that Man, we used to be so good at what we do, sitting around the table. We used to be talking and joking, and Bernie be telling us stories, and they'll say action. We'll go right into the scene, man. Then they say cut. We go right back into laughing and joking with Bernie. So that was like really stealing money. I couldn't wait to get to the set, man. I used to look at the clock at night. Dang, it's just 10 o'clock at night. And then I got to go to set, dog. I got to be there at 10 o'clock. That's like 12 hours, man. That's too long. That's how I used to, because I used to love getting there. Because, man, Bernie's going to tell the stories. We're going to be laughing, making money, and at the same time, man, just having a darn good time and eating some good food. Bernie always had the good food in his room. Downstairs they had the sandwiches and the finger food and all that kind of stuff. Bernie used to tell us, "Hey man, come upstairs. I got the real stuff." He be having the whole buffet style with the fire up under the food, smothered chicken, greens, rice and gravy. So that was, I think, man, I enjoyed that out of every job I think I ever had. That was the best. That was the best for me. Working on the Bernie Mac show, man.
And do you have a favorite memory from the Bernie Mac show?
Oh man, shoot, this the stories, man. He used to tell us so many stories. I mean, he told us this one story. He said when he first started doing comedy, a promoter owed him $75. And he wasn't coming out to give his money. So he went knocked on the door and a big old dude come to the door. Bernie said, well, what money? He said, I ain't got the money right now. Walk it off. That's where he get that walk it off from. Walk it off. He said, nah, man, where my money? He said, dude touched my hand. Walk it off. I said, man, don't he touch my hand? He said, why did I do that? Because the next thing I heard was wallop, wallop. He said a dude hit him in his ear so hard he couldn't even hear what people were saying. He just saw people looking down at him with their lips moving, like, "Are you all right?" He said, "I got up," and the dude said, "Walk it off." I got up and I walked it off. So those stories, man, those are some of the crazy stories, true stories that Bernie say he went through when he first started doing comedy, man. He said his wife used to always tell him, you ain't gonna get the money because you ain't nothing but a punk. You ain't gonna get the money, watch. You ain't gonna get the money. And he said, man, he come back to do it, ain't pay that $75. He had to come in the house. As soon as he open the door, his wife say, see, I told you you ain't get the money. So those stories, man, is everlasting with me.
Yep.
Everlasting with me.
And now you were on Fox even before Martin and the Bernie Mac show because you were on a show that I remember as well called True Colors that was on Sunday
Wow.
nights. Now that's going way back. And I
Dude,
can tell you the whole lineup. I remember True Colors, Parker Lewis Can't Lose, In Living Color. Then it was Get a Life, Married with Children, and Good Grief. And then Get a Life and Good Grief went bye-bye. And then the next year it was oh gosh.
man, let me tell you something.
Who was it? It was somebody else at 8:30 and 9:30. It'll come. Oh, I think that's when it was Rock and Herman's Head.
Dude, dude,
Those are good shows, all those shows.
I've done maybe 1,000 of these interviews and podcasts. You the first dude that I ever talked to that knows True Color. That know not only that, to know the lineup. Oh man, you a buff, man. You a real old head. You a real guy. Nobody ever asked me about True Colors. That's crazy. That I was supposed to be on that one episode too. End up doing five.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
with Nancy Walker. The late Nancy
Nancy
Walker
Walker.
was on there. Yep.
Nancy Walker kept telling me, because they were talking over there. Nancy was talking to me, and Nancy say, "Oh, you need to talk, answer back, talk to me." And I didn't know. I was still green, right? I was still green. I thought that you have to stick to what they tell you to do, but sometimes you have to improv and do your thing because it make it look more real. So I learned that from her. So yeah, may she rest in peace. Thanks for that advice, Miss Walker. Work with a lot of people, man, and old school people in a day, man. I work with Jack Warden, who was doggone on Twilight Zone, man. The episode when he had the robot on the planet. Remember he lived with the robot girl? I worked with him before, man. And I can't believe it, man. Old schools, man. Nancy Walker. Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And you've had a lot of guest appearances on shows too. I want to
Yeah.
ask you about a couple of them because a couple of these, I grew up watching these shows. So the first one I want to ask you about, if you remember, Sister Sister.
Oh yeah, man, the twins. Yeah, that was cool right there, man. Yeah, I did that joint. I did. It's funny, man. I remember when they were kids. Her and I think it was what's his my man Marcus. Marcus was one, the singer now. Marcus, what's his Marcus name? I forgot his name. His last name. Dang man, he big time now. But I remember when they was a kid, they went her both of them went way up to the rafters, man. I'm like, what them little kids doing way up there, man? Yeah, like, what the kids going way up in the rafters for? I don't know what they doing up there, man, but they went up there.
And then you
Mo-
were also on a different world. Do you
Yeah,
remember what season were you on a different world? Do you
man,
remember?
it was the last season. They were supposed to um um spin the show off. They're supposed to spin the show off, and they didn't. It was Billy D. Williams, and Leslie Uggams, and we supposed to be the new season, which was starting a new episode, a new era of different world, and that was cool, man. Working with Billy D. Williams, man. I mean, that was like, meeting one of your idols from back in the day, him and Leslie Uggams, man, meeting your idols, that you grew up, I grew up with, black exploitation era, man. I used to watch all black exploitation movies, man. I mean, I used to go sit in the movies from 12 to 12 on Saturday and Sunday, watching the same movies over and over, the Black Belt Jones and the Three Hallways and, stuff like that. And then Pam Grier Coffee. And to see both of them, man, work with both of them, that was like a dream come true right there, man. I've been blessed, man. I work with a whole lot of people, man, that I grew up idolizing. I did, Vegas, man, with James Caan, man. That was my scenes with James Caan, I was thinking about, Brian Song and Rollerball, man, that I grew up watching them movies. And I'm sitting right there with James Caan. I remember eating a piece of steak, because the scene caused me to eat some steak because he had gave me a steak. He said, make Reg a steak, so the box I played, and I ate the steak, and I was like, man, I tasted it before, the scene. I like, man, this junk tastes like Afro Sheen, like grease. And so James tasted it too. He said, "No, man, come on, man. Y'all got to give him a better steak than that, man. This stuff is bad." And I'm like, man, James Caan hanging with me, dude. So yeah, man, work with some people, man. There were some people.
Yep. And then I were Scott Conn is his son, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I
so.
was I was in a film with Scott Conn.
Is that right? Is that right?
Very, very it wasn't released
Okay.
in the theaters. It was direct to video called Speed of Life. We were in
Okay.
a
Okay.
classroom scene
Okay.
together. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yep.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then also, you had some recurring stuff as well. You were in Caroline in the City and the Parkers.
Yep. Yep. I had a deal with NBC at that time, and they put me in Carolina in the city. And tell you the truth, a crazy story about this that show. Um, Back in '85 when I was in SMU. Well, yeah, SMU. Is this girl named Jonelle Kennedy. She's an actress now, very, very talented actress. And she we my wife used to think, my girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now, used to think that me and her had something going on. We never had anything going on. We were just friends, and but all those years she thought that we had something going on. I used to get flack from that junk. And so fast forward to Carolina in the city, that was about maybe 10, 15 years later. I get the part. Guess who played my girlfriend? Girl from S. And we had to do a kissing scene. That was the most difficult moment in my life at that time. I was like, man, what's the odds of this happening? Of this happening. It happened. And the girl said when she auditioned for it, she said the lady was telling her, yeah, we got the actor named Reginald Ballard. He's playing, she said, Reginald Ballard. I know him. I went to school with him. And she started doing all my mannerisms and stuff that I used to do and stuff. And she got the part, man. And the scene was so tense, I was scared to kiss her because thinking about what my wife always thought. So the producers saw that how I was feeling. They said, y'all just do it. Y'all just hug. Just hug. True story right there, man.
Did you have to sleep on the couch that night?
No, we got it. She understood because the girl ended up getting a part on Fresh Prince, and she
Yep.
invited us to the show, to the Fresh Prince, and we became friends. They became friends and all that stuff, man.
Yeah.
And that's how I knew Bruh Man was big, because when I walked into the set, the audience into Fresh Prince, man, they just started clapping. As soon as I walked in, they was clapping, Bruh Man, Bruh Man. And then Will came out the back and came, shook my hand and said, "Y'all give him another applause." This is from Martin and all that. That was cool. That was cool.
And
Yeah.
you got any memories from the set of the Parkers?
Oh man, I knew Monique before the Parkers. I mean, we used to tour together on Def Jam Comedy, and I mean, we was in a limo one time, man, and they told her that her Def Jam set wasn't gonna air, so she was upset, man. She was crying, and I remember her looking, stopping, and we was all in love. Me, her, Tommy Davidson, Kid Capri, Joe Torre, Talent. We was all up in the limo together, man. She said, "That's okay." She said, "I'm gonna be a star one day. I'm gonna be a star," and I be danged. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. She did it. And working on that show, man, we had so much fun, memories, and talking about on the road and all that, man, and. Yeah, man, that show is, because they let me create characters on that show. That was real cool. I created different characters, so I like that, man. I like being able to this flow.
Yep. And you mentioned earlier that you've been doing stand-up. So tell me how you got into stand-up.
Well, J. Anthony Brown, believe it or not, man, he used to warm up the audience for Martin. He used to be the audience, when doing takes, and I mean doing cuts and all that. He, get up and make the audience laugh. And one day he had a comedy club in Houston. He said, "Hey man," he said, "Can you go to my comedy club in Houston and this host just bring up the comics?" I said, "Okay." I said, "Can I tell some jokes?" He said, "Well, if you think you can." So I went out there to Houston, man, and I started doing it. And another dude saw me in the audience, named Vance Bradford, man, and he said, "Hey man, we doing this thing. We trying to go all around the world. We need a host, to these military bases. We need a host, and you know your name, they know you, and so we can just go out there do." He was doing something named Mr. Johnson. He was a retired colonel, and he was taking comics around Japan, maybe Panama, Germany, all over Guam, and I started doing that, man, and I got better and better and better. Then I started headlining shows. And that's how I started doing the comedy, man. Because Anthony Brown told me to go and do a show in Houston. Then he sent me to Steve Harvey's. Steve Harvey had a comedy club in Dallas. And I went over there, and people, they start feeling it, and that's how I started doing the comedy.
And now, do you test out your material beforehand? How do you do that? Because I know sometimes I've heard comedians have like little venues where it's a smaller audience and they
Yeah,
test it. Is,
yeah.
is
So,
that how you do?
well, I don't really go to a lot of clubs out here in California. I'm always when I go on the road, I just do it, man. I just test stuff as I go, man, because I don't consider myself a true comic, because true comics put more, they dedicate themselves more than I do, so that's kind of bad, but I can make you laugh about 45 minutes, and then you better come get me. Because I'm an actor acting like a comic. I'm acting like a comic. I can act good for 45, 50 minutes. After that, my talents might run out. So come get me off the stage. So,
Is there anything that inspires you or gives you ideas for your comedy?
oh man, what this life, man, everyday life, man. I mean, my wife and kids and my family, and looking at CNN, and and the shows like that. Donald Trump, he's shoot, if you're a comic, can't get no joke out for him, then you need to give up the game. You know what I'm saying? So this stuff like that just motivates you, man. Laying around in the house at night, you think of things, it's like, and then your kids do stupid stuff that, like my daughter, 4 years old, I say, we was looking for my wife, dad, who was 90, lost his false teeth, and we couldn't find the false teeth for 4 days. And my wife make up my daughter bed. We found the false teeth under my daughter pillow. My daughter talking about the fairy godmother gonna bring her $32 for all these teeth. Since she got one for hers. So it's just stuff like that, man. It's things that just happen.
And now at the shows, are they shouting out? Are they shouting out "Bro Man" when they see
Oh,
you?
all the time, all the time. I have to do it. I have to do it. If I don't do it, man, they probably somebody throw a tomato at me. So I have to do that one. I have to do, bro, man. I have to go up there, yo, what's up on the fifth floor, but I don't got to get out of it pretty quick because I don't want to get stuck there the whole time. We be there all night.
What advice would you give somebody who is trying to make it in the comedy business today?
Say, man, just, find open mics and just go and do it, man. The only way to get better is go up there and do it. I mean, don't worry about getting booed because the greatest got booed before, man. If you're a comic and ain't never get booed, then you're not a real comic. I got booed one time opening up for Biggie. Man, that was woo. Biggie, Junior Mafia, Lil Kim, they was all, shoot. But I tried to go on that stage, man. They didn't want to hear no comedy. They wanted rap. Man, I got booed in front of 5,000 at North Carolina A&T. That's how that went down. So just go and do open mic and write your material and make people know why something is funny to you. Let them know, convey that. If you can get that out, it's like an artist, man, that paints, and he could transfer from his brain to his hand faster than we can, and that's why he could put it on the canvas. So a comic, you got to explain to you why something is funny to you. You got to be able to get it out through your voice to the audience. So that's just think about that.
Yep.
Yep.
And now something that you definitely cannot prepare for, just like stand-up comedy, is the lightning round, where
The,
I'm going to name you a couple things and you tell me which one you prefer.
okay.
So, is it scarier to drive over a bridge or over a tunnel?
Over a bridge. I don't like heights, man. But I can fly. I'm not scared to fly. But I don't like. I can't stand over a building and look down. I can't do
Yep.
that.
Would you rather change the past or foresee the future?
Shoot, that's a good one, man. Probably foresee the future. Change the
Would
past.
you
I might not be where I'm at.
would you rather be told the painful truth or a comforting lie?
The painful truth.
Would you rather eat dinner for breakfast or breakfast for dinner?
Breakfast for dinner.
Yeah, definitely breakfast food for dinner. I love that too.
I can eat cereal and watch Twilight Zone all night.
Do you prefer to text or call?
Text.
Are you a hoarder or do you throw everything out?
I'm a hoarder.
Would you rather have a photographic memory or an IQ of 200?
IQ of 200.
Would you rather go on a night out on the town or stay in and watch TV?
Stay and watch TV. That's the type of dude I am.
Better era, 80s, 90s, or 2000s?
80s, hands down.
What's worse, if you can't stop sneezing or you have constant hiccups?
Oh, constant hiccups, man. Sneezing
Which do
feels
you,
good.
which do you lose more, your keys or your phone?
Oh, my phone. My keys in my wallet.
And finally, would you rather, when you go to somebody's house, ring the doorbell, honk the car horn, or text them that you're there?
Text them that I'm near. No, horn. Because I might not get the text. I be horn. I'm a horn guy. Pump. Come on, man.
And one final question that we're all dying to know. Is Brahman still living on the fifth floor?
On the fifth floor. I ain't going nowhere till they kick me out. Thank
Thank you so much for joining us here
you,
today.
man. Appreciate you, man.
What would you like to say to all the fans watching?
Hey, man, let's keep on, my man doing his thing. Keep checking him out and, look for me. I might come to your city. I'm be in Virginia Beach this weekend doing 2 shows Friday, the Funny Bone, and 2 shows Saturday. So if you're in town, come check me out. We gonna make you laugh, man. Have fun. Might go in that salty water out there and do a little something, you know. So I just want them to know, man, I appreciate the love and the support. And you know, that's it. And for all you inspiring actors and comics, if you're an actor, if you have local theater programs or local acting classes, get in, learn as much as you can, and get in front of the audience as much as you can. So that's what I would tell people. And comics, open mic nights, keep writing and keep doing. No matter if you're successful on the first time or not, keep going because eventually you'll get where you want to be.
And do you have a website or social media where people can follow you?
Yeah, they find me on Instagram, Facebook, Reginald Ballard, Facebook, Instagram, bruhman_fifth flow, 5 and FLO.
Now that's easy to remember.
Yep.
We're gonna look you up under
Exact
that.
same thing. Yep, that's it.
And you guys can follow me. I'm on Instagram and Facebook at official Mike Grand. On X, I am Mike Grand Com, like the website, MikeGrand.com. And on YouTube, I'm at official Mike Grand. And we're also on Apple Podcasts as well. Thank you again so much for joining us here today.
Appreciate you too, man. I lost 20 pounds since the last time I seen you, man.
Oh, awesome. Congratulations. I wish I could say the same.
All right, man.
Well,
We'll
I
do it
hope to see
again.
you again. I hope you come out.
Sure.
Me and Reginald met a couple months ago down in
Yep.
Jersey. Had
Yes,
a good
sir. Yes,
time.
sir. Yep. Yep. All right, man. We'll do it again.
Yep. All
All right.
right, take care. Thank you guys for watching,
Peace.
and we will talk to you all soon. Bye, everybody.
All right. Take it easy.
On today's show, we've got former MTV VJ, host of BET's Teen Summit, and a correspondent from The Insider. Please welcome Ananda Lewis.
Hey, Mike Grant. I haven't seen Mike Grant in 20 years. Can you believe that? Oh my God. What are we about to talk about, Mike?
I want to know, my first question for you is, what is your secret to making it look so easy?
You know what? I didn't know it looked so easy. Most of the TV I've ever done is live TV, and maybe that has something to do with it, where you don't have a second chance. That's it. Whatever you say, however you say it, whatever comes out your mouth, that's for the record. That's what's going to stay. On a human level, I think the reason I've always had success interviewing whoever, from someone who's not known by anybody to someone who's known by the whole world, is because I really do see the humanness in all people. And in that sense, I really think we're all the same. I don't see a hierarchy amongst human beings. I know we do that to ourselves. I think that's a lot of ego, but I don't personally pedestalize people. The biggest crowd I've ever been in the middle of was at Woodstock 99 with MTV. Second to that, every time we did TRL, especially the NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys and all the boy bands, and brought all the girls and all their friends out. But also, like when Snoop and Dre drove through Times Square in the hoopty, I remember Whitney Houston TV that I hosted and interviewed her. Like, that was a massive crowd. Mariah Carey, every time she came, you think of the time and you think of the level of celebrities, at the time. And when MTV launched the Times Square studios, we became the only place to be, to go live directly to your fans. I mean, it was a completely different time. Now we all go live on IG whenever we want, right? But this was something special. It was like the beginning of all of this live, the beginning of all this reality TV, like watching people's lives. It was the beginning of that. And we had every single the biggest stars you could think of wanting to be there in the studios with us to do that. And because of the way I thought about radiation and mammograms and the outcome, I didn't give myself the benefit of being able to benefit from a mammogram. And by the time I found my tumor, I jumped right over mammograms and went right to a PET scan, which is like 30 or 60 times the amount of radiation as a mammogram. So I really could have saved myself a lot of radiation if that's what I was trying to avoid. And just I didn't get it. And now I do. And I wanted other women to understand it so they didn't make the same mistake. And that's really why I shared it. I don't talk about my own, private stuff. And I did in this instance because I felt like it was vital for women who were stubborn like me to see what I was going through and to avoid it. Sometimes you're a lesson in what not to do, and I wanted to serve as that as I could.